Hey, this is a podcast. No, wait, it's a comedy podcast. Well, we tried to make it a comedy podcast, and it's not meant to offend anyone. So don't get offended, okay? And wait, there's something else. Oh, yeah, yeah. Listener discretion is advised.
Audiomatic presents Our Last Week.
Hi, Kunal.
Hello, Pal.
How are you?
I'm good.
Kunal, I have
Yes.
an announcement.
Make it.
I have found a house to live in.
Congratulations, Pal.
Thank you. Thank
That
you.
is wonderful.
It's a flat. House is
flat.
such a big word. House is not fair to say in Bombay.
House doesn't qualify very often. It's an abode. It's a
It's a place.
it's a space.
A board is right.
Yeah.
It's a place to just stay.
Actually, I like the term that most delivery guys use. They say आपका room number क्या है?
Yeah.
And
That's about all we
it's
deserve.
absolutely right that
Yeah.
my whatever your room number is 32 or whatever. Mera room number 32. It could be a huge flat.
Yeah.
I mean, and even flat is quite appropriate because they're generally flat.
They are.
They're just flat.
They
don't
have no
levels,
character.
They have no this thing. It's flat.
And also, if you really think about it, say your apartment has X bedrooms,
Yeah.
but you most of the time you're in one room only.
Yeah. And no, I mean, for anywhere else in the world, whatever your house is, generally, it would equate to one room
One room.
anywhere else in the world.
I was watching a documentary on Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Americans have, when they make money, they have houses with 62 bedrooms.
Right.
You know, like, they even have TV shows about how large some of their houses are.
Hmm.
If you had lots and lots of money, which
Yeah.
you do, but even more,
Hmm.
would you ever, like, I've never been interested in a house with 32 bedroom. Like, I've never seen that as a sign of, you know,
Prosperity
Yeah,
or
yeah.
joy giving.
yeah. I mean, it took me nearly
There
4 months
is-
to find 2 bedrooms. So-
Yeah, no, I think that there's a balance between, how many people you can host at any given point
Yeah.
of time, how many people
Yeah.
exist in your family,
yeah.
and like every room is a pressure point, right? It takes up a space not only in the physical world but also in your mind.
Yeah.
And,
right?
and in terms of time, then curtains, air conditioning, bed sheets, pillows. You need stuff for the
Cleanliness.
bathroom. Then it needs to be dusted. It needs to be clean. I'm saying, so now if you have 62
Yeah.
and it says in bedroom number 47A,
Yeah.
there is a small leak on the floor.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
like the wall is getting moist. Now, each one of these bedrooms will have individual problems. And I'm sure that most of these people have people to deal with that.
Yeah.
But those people are also issues, right?
You have
Because
to
then
deal with
them
that guy.
to a person
You didn't
also,
look at
right?
47A properly.
Why? What? See, I've told you 47 times that 47A is a very important bedroom to me and my family.
Now, Michael Jordan, will he play basketball? Will he do this?
I don't know. So I'm saying that there is a perfect number. I think I've come to the number 6 is the
6
most that I can
rooms?
go to. 6.
Wow, 6 is too much for me.
I was thinking 4,
Yeah.
but I'm saying that I'm being really like opulent. I'm being
And you have kids also.
because then kids and then parents and
Correct.
siblings, and so I'm saying
Yeah.
6 rooms.
And then, say, their kids. Like, imagine
Yeah.
if nobody does anything for a living, then your house needs to accommodate for their kids. Then their kids.
Then their kids, yeah.
My great grandfather lives here.
Yeah.
He bought the house. Luckily, he bought 8 bedrooms. 3
Yeah.
generations can stay here.
He's in 47.
Don't you like? My problem is that I think the more successful you are, Michael Jordan, one of the greatest athletes ever to lived.
Mhm.
Don't you think that he would tell himself, right? My goal is to play basketball.
Right.
How do I reduce all my other worries? But people don't see success like that.
Well, I don't know, because I'm saying then we'd start questioning why all royalty built castles and palaces and any of those things. They didn't have any real requirement to have like 100 bedrooms, right?
Yeah.
Like the palaces. Why did they need all that space? They clearly they had people to deal with that stuff, and I guess they just went on leading their
So
lives.
I think the because petty logistics, as you know, fascinates me.
Yeah.
So say if you were like a massive movie star, you are, but if you were like a massive movie
Big,
star,
like a real
like
movie
bigger
star.
than Shah Rukh Khan,
Yeah.
so you would just tell up like here when you want a flat, you have to go yourself, see the house, approve it. At that level, you would just tell a person, find me a house.
No, I
Like
wouldn't-
when people say you reach the next level, I want to know what that means. Like I had to physically go to every single house. Couple of them rejected me just for who I was, and then I realized that now this is how I live.
Yeah.
I'm not starving. I'm not rich. I have to physically do everything on my own. Like if I was very wealthy, could I just do this podcast and just tell a person, "You do this, find me a house"?
Yeah.
I could, right? I would just tell.
And then, but I guess you need to trust that that person would shortlist properties for you. But finally,
Okay.
you'd have to go there, right? You'd have to
Yeah.
go and see whether this works for me. I guess I mean even billionaires would do that as well, right?
That's the the conundrum I'm trying to solve. Is there any benefit in being very very rich?
Yeah, in the sense that. So I think it's a little bit of a smoother passage through things, like especially through like borders of countries, for instance.
Yeah.
It's a smooth passage.
I'm here on behalf of.
Yeah, you
Mr.
go in,
Michael
you
Jordan.
go out, you just like that kind of travel, the kind of travel that you do.
Yeah. You don't have
Maybe
to-
the kind of restaurants you eat at, the kind of food you eat. I mean, at a certain level, I like the food that I eat, but there's always you want to try something, or there's something more expensive. I guess the clothes you wear, I don't know if that interests people or doesn't.
But then maybe I have a guy on my phone called, William, restaurant bookings, and then like right now, how is it? Like we call up, right? We're like,
Hi,
hi. This is Zumi. Hi, this is Anuvab. Sir, no table, sir. Please, just for two.
just to
Just your-
next year.
Next year.
Next year.
We just love your sushi. Please, next year. He doesn't have to do that. He just has to call John. John, what's the best sushi place in Bombay? Just get us a table for two
Tonight.
tonight, and it's done.
Yeah.
So that's what we can't afford. The people between us and the things.
Yeah.
That's the first sign of money. A layer. We don't have that layer. For us, it's like us and the thing itself.
Yeah.
Like even this 2 bedroom,
Yeah.
if I was wealthy, I'd have a layer.
Yeah.
That guy would be like, sir's not coming only.
Yeah.
Sir will move in when he moves in.
See, once all the documentation is ready,
Sir will come.
Sir will show his thumb on the phone,
Yeah.
and he'll do a thumbs up,
Yeah.
and he'll say this is all good to go.
Yeah.
Then,
And then I'll scan the documents.
last minute, Sir will arrive, just sign and leave in 3 minutes.
Sir's busy.
Sir's very busy.
You want anything, you deal with me.
Yeah, I'm Sir.
For you, I'm
I'm
Sir.
Sir.
So success in life is just having like 4-5 different people under you, under different headings.
Yeah, but I think success is when you can be completely free.
Yeah.
As in, all these people are there, and when they say Sir is very busy, Sir is not busy. Sir should not, or
Sir-
ma'am, should not be doing anything.
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 As in, not having to get ready, not having to go anywhere or meet anyone. Just,
So no, not even errands, right? Like not even like, so say my phone bill, like I have like today, like for example, I'll just read out what my reminders are, right?
yeah.
Buy Dubai travel insurance,
Hmm.
do podcast, check on HSBC payment, right? And then I've got renew fixed deposit, and I've got
Pay LIC.
yeah, I've got some pay Vodafone.
Pay Vodafone.
So in my phone I'd have a guy say Amit, and it would just say Amit monthly issues, and I'd call him Amit, say Amit, please take care of my monthly issues.
Yeah. Or maybe you wouldn't need to make that call. Maybe all of this would be looked after.
Oh,
So that's the beauty, that you don't have to make this list.
oh,
So
I'm turned on right now.
yeah. So
That's the real sign of wealth.
yeah. So you don't have to care about a phone bill. You don't have to care about the transfer. You don't
So
have to
all
care
morning, we just be
what I'm coming to
Yeah.
is that if you start removing all obstacles
Everything.
from life, then the question is, what is life?
What is life?
What constitutes you working towards your life?
Yeah.
Because then,
Yeah.
like, say, you treat yourself sometimes to a movie,
Yeah.
a play, a book,
Yeah.
a relaxing swim,
Yeah.
or a massage. These are things that you feel that because you paid the Vodafone bill,
Yeah. You deserve.
you deserve. You because you fix that bulb, the washing machine, that whatever it is.
I'm going to give
there was
myself
some-
a treat.
I'm going to treat myself to this.
Yeah.
Now, if your whole life was made up of only treats,
Only treat. From swim to spa.
from swim to spa,
Yeah. To
and
a
from
drink.
spa to nice air conditioned room with drink,
Yeah.
then what you would be dealing in those things would be the problems of those things.
Yeah. This
And
drink is not good enough.
Yeah, the masseuse, man, he was pressing too hard. Or it would be, exactly that. The AC is too cold.
Yeah.
It's freezing
Amit.
over here. What is the problem? How can it be so cold? So I'm saying that then you're dealing with problems of luxury.
Yeah.
And I think, to deal with luxury problems is a problem
It's
in
like
my
that
head.
HBO show White Lotus. Like they're so rich that they, you see, I just, even if, see, someone said, here's $100 million, I would still want to do my own errands. You know what I mean? Like I would not, I'm a person, I wouldn't know how to organize my
The
finances.
problem is that you don't
to be
know how to
free.
live like that.
I don't know how to live like that.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who would, like, who do I go to and be like, listen, I've got money. Can you solve all my problems?
You wouldn't know those people.
know those people.
You would start recruiting from colleges and all that
yeah.
stuff.
I'd be like, I need a person to do
Come here, you.
Yeah.
Yo,
That
come here.
person- I've never
here.
done this, sir.
Come here.
I've never.
I need someone to solve all my life's issues.
I'll give you money.
I'll give you money, huh?
That guy'll take the money and run.
Yeah. And
This
he'll
is my
complain
problem.
also.
I don't know those layers. He'd complain.
You don't know those circles.
I'm not in those.
You don't move in those zones.
Do you know one person who has like a thing on his phone that says, all monthly expenses,
Pay.
Vishal,
Yeah.
like we don't have, like, that's us. We are those people.
And my thing is that now slowly with AI,
Yeah.
say AI became a person
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
And it was able to be a person for every one of these things.
Yeah.
It's a conversation you're having with a person.
Yeah.
Like it's a voice even.
Yeah.
And which is happening now. It's not
Yeah.
in the future.
Hey, I
And
set up my
hey,
house.
Listen, just pay my Vodafone bill and acha, that washing machine needs to be fixed. So call that guy and tell him to come between 4 and 7. So I'm saying then it just becomes a little conversation you have in the morning.
Yeah.
Then what is the next level of luxury for rich people is my question. Because now everyone will have this. Say everyone with AI now, everyone will have this.
So maybe the really wealthy people will go back to errands.
Errands, they'll say that
I'm repairing my own car.
yeah, it's happening.
Yeah.
And that's what people are doing.
I'm going back in reverse.
Yeah.
The real sign of wealth is just, fixing your own air conditioner.
Arey, I'm doing this oil leak. Yeah, it's fallen.
How rich is he?
Yeah, he puts his own hand inside his car and takes out stuff and gets dirty.
You
and
know,
all.
he's a multi-billionaire. You know what he does? He goes house hunting himself.
Yeah, he buys veggies and all.
Kunaal.
Yes.
So, here's a conundrum. One of the houses I rejected
Mm-hmm.
had a gentleman residing in it. This is how the house got available.
Right.
And how the house got available was that he died.
That's unfortunate.
It said. He did not die in the house.
Okay.
Let me ask you this as a conundrum. Would you rent a place where someone had died?
If I like the place, yes.
So would I. So
Yeah.
would I. But a lot of people wouldn't.
I'd just like to state that in a city that's about 250, 300 years old, I know there aren't many 200-year-old buildings, but there are some very old buildings. And the possibility that someone at some stage has died in them is
100%.
extremely high.
100%.
I mean, it's almost
100%.
100%.
Yeah, yeah,
Unless it's a brand new flat that
Yeah.
you're buying.
yeah,
Even then, some unfortunate worker might have died on the site.
yeah. Or the guy who paid his mortgage killed himself.
Killed
So
himself. Exactly.
This
So-
one,
the landlord made it very clear. He's like, my previous tenant did not die in the flat. He was abducted and killed in a foreign country.
Oh.
And my partner said, I'm not sure we should take this flat. And I said, why not? And she said, because I think maybe it's unlucky. And I said, do you think everyone that rents this flat will get kidnapped? And I said, it happened in Lagos or in Kenya somewhere. And maybe it had to do with a personal business deal that went wrong. So what does this have? What bearing does this have on us? She said, no, it brought bad luck on him. It could bring bad luck on us. But if you want to go ahead, go ahead. And my question is, in big world cities, where do you draw the line? Because every flat will have a past. If there wasn't a murder, there was a breakup. If there wasn't a breakup, there was a failed negotiation. If there wasn't a failed negotiation, there was a fight. Wasn't a fight, there was a child that stormed out.
Right.
You know, there was a financial theft.
Correct.
There was some sort of fire.
Meanness.
The
I
death
mean-
of a dog.
Oh, and that for me, meanness in all these places. Like there's definitely been some ill treatment,
100%.
ill treatment of some humans
Yes.
or even animals.
Yes.
The thing is that I feel that every place has some sort of, like say a quota for death.
Yes.
You
Yes.
And say every place was assigned one kidnapping in a foreign land that led to death.
Yeah.
I
This
think
flat,
that
whatever. So every flat has a quota of history.
Yeah.
And this flat, in its quota of history, you're allowed one kidnapping and a death.
So I think that it's already fulfilled that quota.
Right.
So I think it's actually a positive for that flat where you can say that, listen, its quota of kidnapping is done. So now
Scratching it out.
the likelihood of one more person being kidnapped who lives here is almost
It's
nil.
like a diversity quota.
Exactly. Because I'm saying that now it'll happen, but it won't happen to this flat.
No, they're like, listen, we were supposed to cast 3 Indians in this musical.
Yeah.
We've already found 3 Indians.
Yeah.
He's like, but I'm very qualified. He's like, no, but we met our quota.
It's done.
So
So the same
but
way
this
that
is
the-
very fascinating. So what you're saying is, let's go back a little bit. What you're saying is, every flat that you rent,
Yeah.
the broker that shows it to you, anybody, should tell you that every flat is allowed a history of incidents.
Yeah.
So you ask about those histories.
So I think
Has
that-
there been a marriage here? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has
So
someone
if we
died
marry
in this
again,
bed?
there'll be a second. Has anyone died? Yeah, they have. In fact, on their wedding night.
On their wedding night. Oh,
Both
so
of them, they were at it, and it got a bit much, and they
They
both
caught
died.
fire. There was a fire.
There was a
yeah.
fire
Their
while they were
wedding-
having
their
sex.
wedding bed caught fire. In fact.
Wedding. It was quite a night.
Yeah. So then what's wonderful is that you're striking these things off the list of things that could happen
Won't
to
happen
you.
again.
So
So you
I mean,
turn to
how
your
can
party
it-
list.
I mean,
See,
like,
if we
see,
marry,
it's happened now. I mean, already they were
What are the
making out-
chances
What are the chances of the wedding
two
night
people,
bed
wedding night, sex, fire. It's done.
It's not happening.
And then you go through the whole list. What
Yeah.
about
Hanging?
disinheritance?
Yes.
Like, yeah, we've
Yes.
had one
So
of those.
It's not going to happen now. So you're saying that the society office
Yes.
should have a history textbook of that place.
You know, there's a British TV show called Who Do You Think You Are?
Hmm.
You can go back to your great grandfather, even older, then how far you want to go back. And then and I think there's a DNA cycle 23 and
Right.
where you broadly find out, okay, so I don't want to do that
No.
because I don't think I'll get good information.
No.
Because most people think that there was nobility in their family. Or, like, I don't know why people do it because, one day I'll find out that I'm a distant relative of Henry VIII. You may be, but once you do more digging, you're like, yeah, this guy, he was a petty thief in the court of Henry VIII.
Yeah.
He was caught, he was tortured, his balls were cut off. And he lived the rest of his life in a jungle eating grass. You are his direct descendant. He went to a brothel one day and accidentally, 2 days before dying, impregnated your great-great-great-great-grandmother. That's probably the information I'll get about my family.
Yeah. No, I've
It'll
always
disappoint me.
I've been worried because I was worried about the presence of some other species only in my this thing. I've always been worried that it'll be like
So what have you found? Really? He was related to Akbar? He was.
yeah.
Then he fucked a goat.
Yeah.
He was expelled
and now,
from
and now,
court.
and now, this is
Look
what
at
we've
you.
got. He's
What?
got goat blood.
You were saying my great-great-great-grandfather had sex with the goat. Yeah, he was expelled from court.
Yeah.
So then you're saying my great-great-great-grandfather was the child of a man and a goat. That's what they say.
Yes, that's what it's saying. It's saying it right here.
What do you think you are? This is what you think you are. In fact, how are you living amongst humans?
That's bad news.
So that's what I mean. That should we not be given the history of a residence?
Yeah, I mean, depends on how interested you are. It's as I mean,
This land, even before it became title deeds, sometimes are very interesting.
I mean, but
because
that's what I'm saying. How far back are you going to go?
very far back. I wonder because you want to know if
See,
all the
that's if you want to correlate that history
Yeah.
to your present. Like I'm
well,
saying
you're
that,
living there. So
yeah, but what I'm saying is that if you don't care, I'm saying for people who care,
Most
I
people
think
don't
it's
care.
important that you strike off all these things off the list of all the atrocities that have been committed, because it's unlikely that they'll reoccur there.
it's like you invite friends for dinner. We'll have a housewarming.
Yeah.
You'll come.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
of our other close friends will come. It'll
Yeah.
be an intimate dinner. And they say I began that dinner by saying, guys, this is the site of a prominent massacre in the 8th century.
Yeah, right there where you're sitting.
11
Four
women.
witches, in fact, they were burnt alive right there.
Then it became a McDonald's.
Yeah.
For a few years, it was a small claims court. After a while, it was a wedding venue.
Yeah.
Then it was a sari shop. Right? And then some people sold bangles. Then there was a very important beheading here.
Yeah.
And now it's a residence for Catholics. So it's, you know where you stand.
So that's what I'm saying, that it is interesting.
Yes.
If you want that, like for me, it's of I want to study the place as it is.
And
good
most
light,
Indians,
good sound.
good light, good sound.
Yeah, I mean, no
as
sound.
is.
Ideally.
Correct. Quiet.
Quiet.
Yes. Most
good
Indians, in
breeze.
fact, young Indians, if you look at how they live, they go into a place, they draw the curtains, and they just go into Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
The first thing, this is fine, this is fine, yeah. And they'll just go draw the curtains. They're like, Wi-Fi, and then just get straight into whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's how, you and I are a little bit different because we're a little old school. So we want to know the history. But you're saying, if it's got good light, if it's got good air.
Yeah.
But it'll nag me though. I can't be happy. I can't
I'm
be
saying
happy
for people,
anyway.
for people who have interest in it, they should dig deep, and there should be a DNA test for apartments also. It
There should be a DNA
It
search.
should be like one of those apps or one of those things where you can send a brick sample or something in, and you
What
can
do
say,
you think you are to the flat?
what is the history of this apartment, and you can get the full history that you want.
I think
Mr. Piramal Patel
Yeah.
in 1963. So then it
had
becomes
one eye.
Yeah.
It began there.
And he spotted this plot. I'm saying so you can get right into that thing,
Yeah.
So
They
it
said,
would-
what? It was a butchery. Yeah, it was a butchery. They used to keep pigs' heads here.
Yeah.
And now it's called Sheetal Towers. Yeah, exactly. Kunaal.
Yes.
House-related conundrum.
Mm-hmm.
I signed my lease today. and thank you.
Congratulations.
There was a prayer,
Okay.
and the broker and the estate agent, everybody wanted to conduct a bit of a prayer.
Okay.
Now, this became quite a insight into modern India, into India, all of India actually, because my broker was Catholic and he wanted to conduct the Lord's Prayer.
Right.
And my other broker on the other side, he was Hindu and wanted to recite the Gayatri Mantra. I don't
The
know.
Ganesh prayer, the one
Yeah.
that
You were saying it. earlier.
Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Surmai Deva Sarvakarya Shu Sarvada. That's what they say when
Wow.
when you start.
We've known
some-
each other 20 years. Never said this to me.
I mean,
I'm
I know the
almost in
Gayatri
tears.
Mantra also.
Yeah. How does that go?
Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat.
Yeah. This is now a podcast. This is very good. That's very good.
That
Well
was the
done.
most basic prayers. I mean,
Did
they're
you
just
learn
like-
these after Prime Minister Modi came to power, or did you always know
after?
this?
This is what I say when I enter dinner parties.
Yeah.
It's the first thing I say that
And
I start with this.
even when you're acting in a film,
I always start with this.
Starts
It just clears the air. Just
Yeah. we know where he stands.
you know where he stands.
My broker,
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Godwin De Silva,
Right.
wanted to start with Our Father, thou art in heaven, hallowed be thy
Your
name.
name. Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done
Thy will be done.
on earth as it is in heaven.
Right.
Give us this day our daily bread
I think that's
and
separate
forgive
one.
us our
Our trespasses.
trespasses, while we forgive those who trespass against us.
Right.
And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
This is now becoming a religious podcast.
It is. It is.
So he wanted to do that. The other guy wanted to do the other one.
Yeah.
Now, what happened is that it all depended on, he said, let's pray. And we all held hands. And he started with, Our Father, thou art in heaven. And the other guy started with,
Vakratunda Mahakaya
Yeah.
Surya Koti Samaprabha.
exactly.
And he said, Our Father who art Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam.
Correct.
Hallowed be thy name.
And there was a
Thy
clash.
kingdom come.
Yeah. Some Bhavani, you know. It became like
Okay, now you went to
if
Mahabharata.
the
That's
start
okay.
of Mahabharata was and the Lord's Prayer. This
Right.
I was watching like the first scene of Anarchy
Yeah.
by William Dalrymple. It was Hinduism clashing with Christian, and I didn't know what to do. I was holding both their hands,
Yeah.
and the moment the Christian player got louder, the Hindu guy got even louder. And then the Hindu guy got louder, the Christian guy was like, forgive those who trespass against us.
Vakratunda
This guy got even louder.
That's funny.
So he's like both vying for my attention.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. They wanted me to, at some point, being the client,
Take a side.
Take a side. Say, which prayer do you want?
Yeah.
I didn't, and there was also coconut that was broken, but I didn't know which prayer to go with. So
Yeah.
because I don't like conflict,
Yeah.
I think I let this carry. They built to a crescendo, and both were very sad at the end. So how would you have dealt with? What would you have done? I mean, you could have started with no prayer.
That's what I say.
Said,
Please don't. Please.
I know the whole history of this building. This used to be a circus. I don't want to go.
I don't want anything here.
Yeah,
I don't allow this.
this is not.
हमारे में नहीं होता है.
That's
Is
a
what I
good
would
one.
say.
That's a very good line. But
because everyone says हमारे में, which means in ours we do this, or हमारे में ऐसे करते हो. In ours we. So my general thing is हमारे में नहीं करते.
amongst our people, we don't do.
We
this.
don't do.
Yeah.
हमारे में नहीं.
And that's a very Indian line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is amongst, like, it's in weddings. In our culture, we do this. It's
Yeah.
a big thing.
In our people.
Amongst our
Amongst
people.
us.
Let my people go. It's
Yeah.
like that. It's so your line usually is my people do nothing.
Yeah.
So I want no ritual because my people do nothing. The history of my people is nothing. I do nothing.
You know, the thing is that it often leads to a sort of dilemma in my head, a conundrum, where it's a fine line between being religious and having some cultural identity. You know, and often this question comes to your head that, you know, like maybe this is your history or who you are. I'm part Jewish even. My children have 4 different sort of lineages.
Yeah. And only 3 human.
And only 3 human. One of them is even goat.
Goat is
So I'm
goat.
saying now what exactly am I, you know, but then if you pay obeisance to each one of these, it's nice because there's some cultural relevance and also it gives you some form of identity and something to cling on to. And if you let go of all of it and you say, I don't want any of it, hamare mein nahi hota hai, then I mean, you are losing some sort of flavor.
Do you feel empty?
I don't feel empty, but I just feel that sometimes, like you know, then why not abandon things like, I mean, the culture even has things like food in it, you know, like certain recipes that are made during pujas or certain things that are, I mean, it's part of your cultural history, you know. So very conveniently, we want to just accept the stuff that is easy to I'm
But I'm like you, and in that I don't like any overt rituals. But do you think that comes from having seen crazy rituals?
yeah, that's exactly it.
So maybe your
and taking
reaction
up too much of your time and day, you
to
know.
say you accept a ritual, say in a wedding, some family combination,
And I have. I
right?
constantly
or
am.
purchase of
Yeah.
real estate, and you see a ritual, and
Yeah.
the other party is performing that ritual,
Right.
and that ritual has some crazy shit in it.
Yeah.
It has, you know, people throwing, you know, desserts on top of an idol while two small midgets are dancing or whatever. And the reason you have adopted this philosophy is that in our culture, in your culture you do this, in our culture we do nothing, is because you realize that nothing is better than this. So it's because we've seen some crazy rituals.
Yeah.
Over time, we've concluded whatever we do in our culture, it can't be this. We
yeah.
just haven't found what it is.
Yeah. So I mean, sometimes it's nice to make up your own thing as you go along.
Yeah.
You know, like
you break a coconut
yeah.
and you sit on a small horse.
Yeah.
Like हमारे में
Come, आइए ना. So then I'm saying that if the brokers are there,
हमारे में यही होता है.
हमारे में ऐसा करते हैं.
Because we're such a pluralistic country,
They'll accept it.
anything is acceptable. He's like, sir, this Kunaal Rai Kapoor is part Jewish, part Hindu.
हाँ.
In his culture, what they do is they have to dance with a medium-sized bear.
Yeah, and they need a balloon, huh? Because the balloon,
The bear will hold the balloon,
and then they dance with
and
it.
the family dances around the bear.
Yeah.
And the entire time, they sing one particular Coldplay song.
Yeah.
उनके बीच में ऐसा ही होता है.
हाँ, उनमें ऐसा करते हैं.
Kunaal.
Yes.
We've got a couple of conundrums
Yes.
in from people. This is a conundrum from about Disneyland from a gentleman called Ravs.
Yeah.
I'm just going to read it out. Hi, I'm very lucky to have some great friends from university, and we try and meet once a year. This year, we've picked Disneyland, and it's something we've wanted to experience for a very long time. For context, we discussed quite a bit when we were in college. However, because of how much we wanted to do on this trip, I feel like we're under some pressure to ensure we have fun. The planning and itinerary we have is quite punishing, and as a self-aware person, I know I'm largely responsible for the stress. I'd like to think I'm quite relaxed as a person, but suddenly with only this trip, I want to be sure the trip is fun. Can you even plan to have fun with certainty? I don't know. Please help me. Oh my God. Thank you very much. Thanks, Ravs. Excellent conundrum.
Very
Thank
good.
you, Ravs. Excellent conundrum. Planning a holiday for friends is stressful.
Yeah, friends, family.
Because
tough.
there's it's thankless. Whatever you do, someone would be like, why you pick this place?
Yeah, I think that the fun is definitely had
Yes.
by the people who are making fun of the planning.
Yeah. Shit
What
restaurant.
a guy, man.
Yeah.
Where has he brought us?
What is this hotel?
It just shows on his
Just
full-
poking.
Yeah, just poking, prodding. And that's the fun. You know,
Yeah.
that the fun is that you make fun of the itinerary. Or
Triggering.
itinerary.
Yeah. And
But I mean, to ensure that fun happens, I mean, it all depends on, the friends, how close they are, whether they can get out of the past, stop talking about nostalgia and just live in the moment and enjoy. But I guess you could have a lot of fun just talking about old things also.
any sort of tour planning
Yeah.
is a difficult job. Any kind. I mean, I think tour operators have a really difficult time.
It's a tough job.
Especially if you're an Indian tour operator.
It's impossible almost. I mean, and that's what he is on this thing. He's a tour operator.
He's like a tour operator. Because
Sort of.
the difficulty is not the obvious things. Because you'll be like, I'm picking this particular ride. Say, I don't know, Pirates of the Caribbean, I think is
a ride, yeah.
I'm picking Pirates of the Caribbean over, I don't know,
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Right, I'm picking that as thing. And someone will say, I want to buy a 3-pin charger. And you're like, what? And someone else will say, I want a cheeseburger with a fried egg. Where can we get that in Disneyland? And it's all the things you haven't accounted for that completely jack you.
Yeah.
It's those things. I had a friend who was a tour operator, and he said he used to do corporate tours for Indian men,
Right.
mostly like banking offsites. And he said the big thing he learned about taking groups of Indian men anywhere
Yeah.
is that they were obsessed with wanting to go to strip clubs.
Okay.
And he would plan these very cultural holidays in parts of the world which were Western and had strip clubs, but they were not.
It was not their main thing.
It wasn't the main.
It wasn't the
thing
main
of that
attraction.
place. So it wasn't like Amsterdam or whatever. It was like he'd pick, say, a tour through the Swiss Alps.
Hmm.
And they would be in very sleepy towns.
Hmm.
You know, they'd be in Basel or Lucerne, where everything shuts down. And all the men would be like, around 8:30 at night, they'd be like, let's go to the strip club. And it's a town that shuts down. It's an early evening. It's a small Swiss town. The whole point of it is the quaintness, the chocolates, the restaurants, the fairy tale
Yeah.
nature. You go to little shops, you buy a little coffee, you know, you buy chocolates, and you eat in a little Bavarian cafe. Like, that's the whole vibe of it. Now, these men are like, strip club, strip club. So at 9 o'clock at night, this poor tour guide, what does he do? He has to go find a stripper who's awake.
Yeah.
And if it's very hard.
It's tough.
Because he would be like, you know, this town goes to sleep at 9. All the strippers are fast asleep. So he wouldn't know what to do. I suppose the only answer is like to go to a strip club at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
But then they planned, you know, a ride to the museum or a train ride through the Alps, and then that would
Yeah.
fuck up the day's plan.
Like at 9:30
In the morning.
post breakfast buffet.
Strippers.
10 बजे स्ट्रिपिंग के लिए जाएंगे 10 बजे तक लॉबी में मिलते हैं 10:30 in the morning.
They're going to a strip club. But to finish the strip club story,
Yeah.
I used to take a bus in Chicago. My first job, I was sharing an apartment. We were very poor in the mid-90s. And it was a long ride in to where my office was, my first internship. And we'd pass through the adult area of Chicago. And on either side, there were strip clubs. And this was at the height of the recession. And the strip clubs were not doing very well. And because, you know, we talked about mornings, a lot of strip clubs would advertise, you know, because business was down, other things that it would say, you know, first they said strip club, now only $7.99 for whatever, 23 dances. And then that didn't work. So then they said stripping, $9.99, 23 dances plus omelette, 2 free coffees,
Breakfast
and a
muffin.
cinnamon roll. You know, and then it said now open for full buffet lunch.
Yeah.
And then it said giving away 3 rugs, 11 women's dripping, plus 4 bathroom towels.
Yeah.
You know, 3 drying mats and 1 Hoover.
Yeah.
You know, that didn't work. It's like, stripping plus medium-sized car. You know, like, it was just a range of things. You know, stripping plus free roof repair.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
3 contractors available.
I think there
with
is a
estimates.
sort of opening here,
Yeah,
you know, for shops that just deal in normal things.
yeah.
To also have stripping, you know, like
Vegetables.
vegetables
Yeah.
or plywood. You know, like it's just that get your ply here, 3 ply, marine ply, and strippers. You know, or it's just like vegetables,
Yeah.
fresh vegetables,
And 3
stripper-
male and female strippers available.
male, female strippers performing through the day.
Fresh broccoli.
Plus, broccoli has just come in.
We have one very last conundrum.
Yes.
About an airline theft.
Yes.
From Alex.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
Hi, Kunaal. Hi, Paul. My name is Alex. I'm an expat. I've lived in Mumbai for the past 7 months, and I've been an avid follower the past 6 months. Big fan, and a lot of gratitude for all the help you provided me in navigating India and cross-cultural phenomenon and so forth. So, much obliged. I'm calling in with a conundrum, something that happened quite recently. I was in the United States for a wedding, and I was flying back by way of Amsterdam. And on my first flight, of which I was largely in and out of sleep, but at one point, I noticed that my hip sack has kind of spilled across the floor around my feet. And there wasn't too much in it. I was able to shuffle it all kind of back, all these personal belongings back into the bag and go back to dreamland. But at the end of the flight, when the lights come on and they make the announcements and you're kind of getting ready to go, I fall into some casual conversation with the lady who's been sitting next to me and also largely napping. And we're making small talk, exchanging some banter, and throughout this conversation, like kind of in the middle of it, I noticed this ring on her finger. And I do a double take, and at that point, I realized that I've had some jewelry that I wore to the wedding in this little hip sack that had spilled on the floor. And upon a triple take, I am 100% confident that she is now wearing my ring. And therein lies the conundrum. I, for a long time, wasn't sure what to do, and I thought of my two Indian comedic guides and what they would do, and I couldn't wait to share this with you. But I did take decisive action in the moment, and I say, ma'am, I know this is terribly awkward, but did you happen to find that ring on the ground? And she knew I had spilled my belongings, because she kind of shuffled her feet and let me get in there and make sure, and I shined my flashlight. And she looks at me and she says, no, it's mine. And her body language and like the remainder of our 10, 12 minutes on the plane, the rest of the time, gave it away that she was living with this guilt now. She knew she had been caught red-handed, and she still would not admit it. So sending this message in the spirit of curiosity, what would each of you have done in such a conundrum?
I actually, there was a similar situation that occurred. We were at the club and we're sitting at one table, and my daughter and some of her friends were at another table, and they had left the table for a while with some of their belongings there. And there was some chocolate that they had bought that was lying on the table. And I noticed that another kid came up from another table and came over and just took that chocolate. And it was this, this imported kind of chewy kind of candy, whatever it was.
It wasn't common chocolate. It was very much her chocolate.
Whatever the chocolate. I mean, now, I didn't have any attachment to it.
Yeah.
But this other child came and picked up the chocolate, which was one of the main things on the table. There wasn't much there. And left and went back to the other table. So when my daughter came back, I didn't want to get into any confrontation.
No, you're like me. Yeah.
I didn't want to say anything, especially to a child. I mean, it would be horrible. So I
You want to fight?
You want to take this outside?
I'm 6.
So I just told her, I think that child has taken your chocolate. If you want to retrieve it, you can.
You send your kid into battle.
See, because then it's kid to kid.
Yeah.
Then it's a level sort of like it's child to child.
It's Emperor Akbar sending his best general.
You go, you do. I mean, and it's also your battle. I've just given you the information.
You
now
win
after
this and come back.
So after saying that, I then sneaked out and I stood at the door just peering in to see what she would do. And she went head on, she just confronted the
Excuse
child.
me?
And she said, no, but very sweetly, very politely said, excuse me, did you by any chance take some chocolate or candy that was lying on that table? And the other kid, who was younger, said, no, yeah, or some such. And then, of course, the other parent who was there, and was strange because, she might have noticed this child suddenly appear with this huge thing of chocolate and didn't question where it came from. But she suddenly chimed in, oh, yeah, where did you get that? So, where did you get that? And then, of course, instructed the child to return it, and she did. Or he, I even forget. And my daughter said, thank you so much.
And the parents discovered their child is a kleptomaniac.
Or whatever. And then left. So I'm saying that she handled it head on. But the thing is that I didn't get into it.
Were you hiding somewhere?
I was hiding behind the door, just peering in
seeing.
a bit, seeing. How is this? What is going to happen here? So I think that he could have either employed another person. You know? I think it's always nicer to...
You know what he could have done? I don't know, Alex, if this would have helped. If he's really sneaky, he could have called the air hostess and said, I think I've lost my ring.
Yeah.
What kind of a ring was it? Just a simple ring, very similar to this lady's ring.
Yeah. In fact, I think it might be that ring only.
Yeah.
But then, then it's your word against hers.
Yeah. So then you've lit the fire.
I think that that's when the children are useful, because even if I had my child with me, because then it's a confrontation between a child and a lady.
That, she's,
Then now who has the upper hand?
Yeah.
So that's when it's useful.
Yeah.
You know, because now if me as a grown man, you know, is accusing somebody, whereas a child, if I told my child, listen, just go and get my ring back now from that lady.
Auntie, I think you've
Auntie,
taken my
I think
dad's
you've
ring.
taken my dad's ring. Hey, she's taken my dad's ring. She's taken my dad's ring. I bought him this ring. So I'm saying that, you know, then...
There's no facade.
And the beauty is that then... Because otherwise I could just be an obnoxious, like,
You know
some
what?
guy.
What is missing in this world is why are 8-year-olds and 7-year-olds not sent in as debt collectors
Yeah.
or subpoena givers? Those are the ones that, you know, he hasn't paid his rent in 9 months. He hasn't. Imagine at 6. This is what Charles Dickens missed.
Yeah.
A 5-year-old child shouting outside your house, you know,
Liar! Cheat!
his mortgage is due.
Yeah.
The bank has seized his house. You go on from here, child.
Yeah.
That's what's missing. This is our last week.
This is...
We've overrun.
We have.
Our producer is showing us a watch he doesn't even have.
Time to time.
He's just showing us his wrist.
What time ho gaya?
And, you know, it's like we do this a lot. No?
Yeah.
Just point to our wrist. I don't have a watch. I point to my wrist all the time. Can't point to a phone to show time. It
No.
doesn't mean
It could mean so many things.
Yeah. Okay, we're going now.
Bye.
Bye.
You were listening to Our Last Week, produced by Rajesh Tahil and Avdoot Khanolkar, hosted by Anuvab Pal and Kunaal Roy Kapoor, assistant producer Akanksha Kadam.